All right. Now, has anybody out there heard of a fella named Bernie? You've heard of Bernie? What's his last name? Bernie Sanders. That's right. That's right. And what's something that Bernie always says? One thing he always says. It's about people who are rich. They should what? The rich should pay their fair share. I got a great audience out here. They know exactly what it is. The rich should pay their fair share. And I like, everybody likes Bernie. Bernie's a great guy, you know. We like to hear him say what needs to happen, right? So I'm going to add a little bit to the rich paying their fair share. So if you really think about it, we have 340 million Americans, right? And I think that they might be pushing the rich a little bit too much. They're going to do something, but they're not going to foot the bill for 340 million Americans. So we want to look at some other ways in which we can actually fill in that void. We depend on the politicians in office to do what they're supposed to do, and they make the promises to us. But let me make a pause right there. So my name is Barack D. Obama Shaw. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I also ran for mayor here in 2022. Came in third, so I'd like to thank all the people that voted for me at the time, right? If you didn't, no problem. You can make a donation, so we can make up, right? So I'm going to need everybody's help in terms of reaching for that particular position, because that's a pretty high position when you're looking at state level. So I want to leave you guys with something that I think is pretty impressive if you really think of it. But it's an old saying. They say the rich get what? What do they say about the rich?
Richer.
The rich get richer, and what happens but the poor? They get poor. So what we want to do is something different from that mentality of the rich get richer and the poor get poor. So what if we said the rich stay rich and the poor has more than before? Then could that work? But let's take it to another level than that. The rich stays rich and the poor has more than the year before. That's even better. See, every year you're going up and up and up and up and up into another tax bracket. But if we have the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor, we're going to have to continue to have this divide. We're going to continue to have this gap in, our quality of life. So I'm standing for a particular principle where we're looking at joy and jubilee on a foundation of generosity. Now, jubilee is it's a biblical principle, and it's an economic principle that I didn't create, but I got it from upstairs, to where in a particular year in time that the poor, they could be able to to have particular crops. They could go back home if they were in servitude. They could also eat as much food as they want in terms of the farming and all of that. It's basically taking the monkey off the back, giving the people who are just trying to make it, giving them a chance. If you think about it, the average salary in the United States is about $66,000, right? Say you have somebody that you have a particular hamburger you like, right? And you've been eating this hamburger for 30 years, right? Same old hamburger, same wonderful taste. But one thing happens. 1 year is $2.59, $3.59, $5, $6, $7, $8, and it's the same burger. You appreciate the burger, but the cost of living is not going up like that. It's pretty much staying right about $66,000 a year. And if you're one of the fortunate ones that's making a six-figure income, that's making the $250,000, $300,000 a year, then wonderful. But most folks, we're just trying to make it out here. We enjoy that the capitalistic or capitalism and this wonderful country, but we want to be able to afford these wonderful things in this country. So we got to look at that. So with this burger going up in the cost, it's the same bread, it's the same meat, it's the same lettuce, but the cost is going up. And as far as they might say, Barack, what do you mean the cost is going up? Yeah, everything is going up. Yeah, but when you're talking about this new philosophy, joy and jubilee, the foundation of generosity, we bringing the cost down. Because everybody knows around, and say, well, we can't bring down the cost, but everybody knows around December 25th, right? All of these companies, they're gonna brag about how much money they made around Christmas time. They're gonna brag about it. They're gonna say, we made all of our profits. We made probably 80% of our profits during this 1 month. So we know you can bring the prices down. So I'm standing for, in this space of generosity, that the people, us, that we can stand for these prices to start coming down. Because if we demand that the prices start coming down, they will. If they don't, then you don't shop there. Then they'll get the message. I remember I don't remember back in 1955 because I wasn't here. But in 1955, when there was injustice with the Montgomery bus boycott, you know, how they would have situations where black people had to stand up on the bus when the white people came on the bus, and even the bus drivers carried weapons, you know, could harm black people. But they didn't have the legislative power. They didn't have anybody in political office to really help them. But the church leaders got together and they said, this is not right. We're going to put together a campaign, and we're just going to stop riding the buses for as long as it takes. They stopped riding the buses because they were 75% of the population that was riding the bus were black people. And they said we're being mistreated. We want to be treated like human beings. So they said, well, we're going to tough it out. We're going to start carpooling, riding bikes, riding cabs, and the cab drivers, instead of charging them 55 cents to ride the cab, they charged them 10 cents to ride the cab. So everybody was starting to chip in because they knew what was happening wasn't right. And then, of course, when Rosa Parks came along, she really jumped this thing off to where, hey, I'm sitting down, I worked a hard day's work, so I'm not standing up for anybody, right? And so, what happened is when the people stood together, laws changed. Laws changed. Everything went to the Supreme Court, and that changed for us. So I'm saying to the people of California, you can stand that these prices go down. You got power, but you got to pull together, and then the powers that be will get the message. Because there's power to the people, is that right? There's power to the people. So, and that's what I'm talking about. And as I'm running for governor of the state of California, if you think about how many people are in political office, maybe House of Representatives, 435 people or something like that, Danny, something like that, and 100 people in the Senate, right? And so you expect that few number of people to have their minds to be able to focus in on 340 million people? Well, we have to have, there's someone that has to fill in the gap. Even in the olden days when you had Moses freeing the Israelites from Egypt, you know, being in charge, one man being in charge of 2 and 3 million people, he had to get some help. At least got 70 later on. got 70 elders to kind of help him out with the workload. So we have some help too. We have nonprofits. Nonprofits, really, we need to stand that the nonprofits step up a lot more. We have, what, 200-something thousand nonprofits just in California alone. 109 nonprofits in the United States. So having these people say, hey, you're getting the tax breaks, but hey, we need you to listen to the people, listen to us. We have about 45,000 churches in the state of California. So I have a great respect for the church because they're saying they got the standards. So I'm standing for them to have those standards and to help to meet the needs of the people, to help to meet the needs of the people who are homeless, the people who are barely making it by. Right? So, and I'm counting on this message actually being greater than my candidacy because the message is far greater because it's about the people having a great quality of life. That's what it's about. It's about the Californians staying in California. If we can't lower the cost of living, what do the people do? They go somewhere else. If we tell the rich that you're going to pay your fair share, one politician is not smarter than all of the rich people. Rich people are kind of smart. They want to hold on to the money. They're just going to move on. If we say we're going to raise give people more money, more money on their paycheck, what are they going to do? We get the more money on the paycheck, go from $14 an hour to $20 an hour. What are the employers going to do? Cut your hours. They're going to cut your hours. So that's why I'm saying it would make sense to really stand for, since our wages are not going up, right? Since the quality of the products that we're getting are not going up, it's the same hamburger that you've been having for the past all these past years. Then we want some discounts. We want some 2-for-1 deals, 3-for-1 deals like they used to do. Over here at the Alameda Theater, I think they got the message. Like every Tuesday, instead of the cost of the movie being $15 is maybe $6. So they're trying to give people a break to get the monkey off your back because the salaries are not going up and up and up, but the cost is going up and up, and it's not making any sense. And so instead of waiting on the legislator, we can stand for them to have the SNAP benefits and all of those things for us. That's important, right? But we can also stand for if you think about the king we have in Washington, we got to look also the kings that we have around here. There's some kings around here that ain't listening to us, that need to listen to us, that need to listen to the people, because it's the people that gave them that position. It's the people that gave them that accountability, being responsible for us. And they ain't listening. They ain't listening enough. We need to bring down these housing prices. My mom never had a house. I've never had a house or owned a house. Probably could get it from my military training and all of that, but that's not neither here nor there. But she was a great person. She never drove a car. Most of the time I don't drive. It's really it's not the stuff that we have. It's about the quality of the people. It's about standing up for these migrant workers. Yes, they're in a situation, right? But we need to stand up for them. That instead of just have you ever drove around the United States or drove around here without car insurance? You know how that feels when you don't have car insurance, especially when you're driving around these nice cars and hoping you don't hit them. It's like, oh, geez, man, if somebody hits me or if I hit somebody, what am I going to do? But imagine being in the country and you got this thing over your head. You were just trying to get a better life for your family. you're just trying to do the best you can, and you kind of caught in the middle of it. So we're going to need to do a couple of things. We're going to need to make sure, put a time frame in which these people can actually become full-fledged citizens, and have people, to have organizations to help them pass those tests so they can get the monkey off their back, and be full-fledged citizens. We have, and I'm sure they'll pay their share, which whatever that is. If they have to pay a little bit more, fine. Let's just make sure that they're not living in fear of being pulled away from their children, being pulled away from the grandparents, being pulled away from everything that they know because they're caught in this political situation. Most of the times, as I've been looking at politics, what I've been finding out that really, I'm not a politician. I'm running for political office, but I'm really not a politician. What I found that really politics is trying not to offend anybody. That's what I'm seeing politics. Oh, don't say this because that's going to offend these people. Don't do this because these people are going to get upset. And don't do this because those people are going to get upset. And don't look over there because those people are going to get mad at you too. And don't do this because you might lose your job. And don't go over here because they're going to be upset with you too. And they're going to ban you over here and they're going to ban you over. Well, that's just cowardice as far as I'm concerned. So I'm for humanity. You got in this country. Everybody got into this country, had some kind of situation when they came into this country. Coming over here because they wanted a better life. Now they're here. Let's create a better life for them. We can't remove 15 million people. That's impossible. So if you're here, hey, let's put you to work. Let's get you qualified. And let's have you become a full-fledged citizen. So you can walk around with your head up high and not worry about somebody jumping out of a van with a mask on trying to get you. When I was a little kid, we used to be afraid to have our feet hang over the bed because I was kind of tall. The bed was kind of small too. But my feet would hang over the bed. But to get us to not have our feet hang over the bed, what they did is say, the boogeyman gonna get you. Watch out for the boogeyman. The boogeyman, so then I pulled my feet in because I didn't want the boogeyman to get me. So I don't want people just walking around trying to work. They gotta, if they go to the baseball game and watching them playing baseball, they don't want people jumping out and vans grabbing them. They don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear either. Black folk know about living in fear. I'll tell you that. Black folk know about living in fear. That's for sure. I've had living in fear myself. I know how it feels. They have this thing about this DEI that they're trying to push. So let me say something about laws. Laws are in place to make sure that people continue to do the right thing. They put the laws in place because they know the human nature is to cut corners. Forget about other people. Be selfish and people do their own thing. That's why they have the laws in place to look out for not having kids working at 6 years old, not having the children being mistreated, not having migrant workers running for their life, or kids who were born here in the middle of this political situation. They don't know where they're going to stay, if they got to leave with the parents or they got to hide from people. They don't have freedom. They don't have the true freedom living in America. So I'm really standing that we can start coming together. We can start standing for these nonprofit organizations to start filling the gap. They got the spaces. They got the tax breaks. They got the connections. But they need to get to work to help these people who are in need. And that's usually the mission statement, to help the people who are in need. So as I'm standing for this possibility of Jubilee, this joy in Jubilee, on a foundation of generosity, one thing I do know about Americans that are different from anybody else on the planet. We got rights. Other people have rights, but we really have rights. Even if the rights are not by law, we gonna make up some rights. All right, thank you for coming. We gonna make up some rights. You know, the policeman try to stop me. I got the right to keep driving 100 miles an hour. I've been drinking. I got the right to drink a little bit more. And okay, I got the right to. We just make up stuff with rights. You know, we really have that thing about us. So, but it would be right if we actually look at the rights that we are standing for, or claim that are legal, what have you, and just come with an open mind. So when we come up with these rights, we're gonna fight you over these rights. So people who are wealthy, they're gonna be standing up for their rights too. You're saying I should pay my fair share. How much is that? You told me that last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. You've been telling me this for 60 years. When are you going to stop telling me this? If it was your money, if you're in that situation, people telling you about your fair share, you'd be the same way, right? It just, it might be a different of zeros. And so, but my point is this. I think it would be a lot wiser, instead of shaking our fist in the face of opportunity, to actually have a conversation. To say, hey, Mr. Musk, we could sure use your help on the south side of town. Hey, Exxon, we could use your help over here. And, the people would just love you. Can you help us out? Or can you help us out? To really treat people as people and not someone that owes you something, right? Because if you're acting like somebody owes you something, they don't want to do anything for you. So, but to have a situation where we can have this joy in Jubilee, and when I say joy in Jubilee, the joyfulness of giving to others. They said God loves a cheerful giver. We don't want people just giving grudgingly. They don't even want to help us. We want them give, from the heart, from the spirit, from the soul, want to make a difference in this life. And when people give like that, they actually give more. But if you force people to do stuff, they don't want to do it. But if we treat them like people, and as they treat us like people, then you got something happening here. You got this cohesion happening here. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and my people over here standing with the signs. Thank you for coming out. And if you'd like to contribute to Barack D. Obama Shaw for Governor 2026, you just go to pricelesspolitics.com. Pricelesspolitics.com. I call it pricelesspolitics.com, not to be sarcastic, is because in any area of life, I don't care what you do, politics is going to touch it in some kind of way. So instead of vilifying it, making it something dirty and nasty and ugly, let's treat it for what it really is, a tool to help us, a tool to fill in the gaps of being Americans. And I'm a stand that we can be the United States of America. And then we start acting like it. The United States of America. And so within each state, we have the people united, the people working together, not the people fighting one another, fighting and hitting each other. Abraham Lincoln said, if we continue with the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, we'll soon be all eyeless and toothless. So let's find a different way. Instead of being right about the situation, why not find out what's going to work? Find out what is going to work for everyone. We don't care who came up with the idea, just long as the idea works for the people. So I'm Barack D. Obama Shaw. If you'd like to find out more about me, and you could Google me, Barack in Alameda, it's going to come up. or you can send me an email, Barack@pricelesspolitics.com. And please, if you'd like to see more yard signs, if you'd like to see me in Los Angeles speaking on your behalf about this Joy and Jubilee, if you'd like to see more people involved, hey, get involved. Don't complain. Campaign. Be a part of the campaign. Make sure that you contribute. Because if you don't help, the Democratic Party was talking about we don't have any new leaders. I'm not chopped liver over here. Here he is. He's one of them, right? So if we don't contribute to the new leaders, then we really have nothing to complain about. We can't say, well, here's a new guy. He's doing this thing. I'm gonna leave you on this. There's this, anybody heard of this Hamilton? The dancing, the Hamilton? You've heard of that, Alexander Hamilton. I'm sure you have. He's standing on a half star with his hands up in the air and all of that stuff. And everybody's been loving Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton. Dancing and all of that, remembering the words to the dialogue and all of that. But where Alexander Hamilton was from, it wasn't from the United States. You know, there was a hurricane where he's from. There was this big tropical, this big storm, right? And it damaged where he was. It damaged the neighborhood. It damaged the island. It was terrible. But young Alexander Hamilton took it upon himself to write in the paper, write out what the experience was, what the people are going through. He took it upon himself to write about this. Somebody asked, who wrote this? They said, Alexander Hamilton. That young guy did this? This young guy wrote this? This young guy came up with these types of ideas? Wow. We can't just leave this guy around here. He's got to go to somewhere like America. He's got to go to school. We got to make sure this guy's prepared for the world. This guy can make a difference in the whole world. We got to put this young man out here in America so he can make a difference. But we don't remember the guy. We don't know who the people were that made sure that Alexander Hamilton made it to these higher heights, made it to the Americas. But somebody believed, somebody saw something in the young man. Somebody gave that young man a chance. And that's what I'm doing out here today. I'm standing for you to give this young man a chance. This young man right here. Yeah, I'm over 40, but is young for politics, okay? Give this young man a chance. If you hear something that somebody's trying to do the right things or stand up for other people, give this young man a chance. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge these days. It's not like the old days when you had people with civil rights. The church will be right behind you. There's no church behind me. For some reason, the churches get a little scared when you say you're doing something in politics. Right? But if it wasn't for the black church, I wouldn't be able to get on that bus right now. I'd be sitting in the back, but it was because somebody thought of me, thought about other people, and didn't just think of themselves and think about playing politics, not just standing out, and I don't want to offend anybody. Somebody actually stuck the neck out. Somebody actually took a risk. Somebody took a risk for me. And somebody took a risk for you. Somebody took a risk for you for us to have these freedoms that we have in America. Our veterans. Somebody took a risk for you. Our mothers and fathers, our forefathers, they took a risk for us because they wanted us to have it better. And so we can't just stop there and just say, hey, we got it good and we're not going to think about anybody else. No. That's not the American way. The whole world is counting on America to be united, to be out there, to be the ones that are up front to be the ones that are the leaders, to be the ones to pick up the other countries, to pick up everybody, because we say we are that. We say we are the superpower. We say we got it. We know how it's supposed to go, America. So let's be that. Let's not let our forefathers down. Let's not let the Alexander Hamiltons down. Let's not let the Benjamin Franklins down. Let's not let the Abraham Lincolns down. Let's not let the George Washingtons down. Let's stand up for our country. Let's get involved. You can get involved with the Obama Shaw for Governor campaign. Just go to pricelesspolitics.com. Send me a message. Go to Barack at Priceless Politics and send me an email. Ask how you can get involved. If you don't like the world the way it is, then you need to do something about it. If you don't like the fact that we have 200,000 nonprofits and 109 million nonprofits that are not reaching out to you, that are not helping you get to the next step, getting the education and being there for you, hey, hold those people accountable. I stand before you today. I'd love to have a whole multitude of people behind me back in the civil rights days, all of the preachers and the deacons and the ministers and the different business owners and the companies and all of that stuff behind me. I love to have all of that stuff behind me, but it's coming. I got my mom looking after me right now. My mom just passed away. It's supposed to be my first rally on the 25th, but it's today. This is my first official rally, and I want to continue to make Mom proud, and I'm sure you guys have the same type of wish for your lives. I thank you guys. I thank you, Alamedans, for voting for me to be mayor of the city and me coming in third. And if you're upset about it, make a donation. Pricelesspolitics.com. Thank you guys so much. Have